The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We're back on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Rick's Barbecue, serving up the best smoked barbecue, ribs, and many local favorites. Wings now, too, on Warrior Drive, locally operated by Anne-Marie Brent and the Lanning family. It is time to talk some Stewarts Creek football this morning. Ben Caudill joins us here in the studio. And, Coach, really, when you get together and play Rutherford County teams, even though it wasn't a region opponent, it still feels like it even early on. And so I'm glad we're able to get these matchups even if we're not in region play.
Yeah, it's been great to kind of renew the series with Blackman. You know, when I got to Stewarts Creek, this was a game that wasn't being played, and we've played them the last 4 years and split them evenly, and every single game has been kind of like it was last night, all within about a possession or two. Yeah. And so certainly was a great, exciting game that unfortunately didn't go our way.
42-35 Blackman in last night's game. You won last year 28-21. So, I mean, these have been close games, fun games, and seeing a lot of great plays in those games. Last night, kind of walk us through what you thought. We talked about this during the broadcast. It seemed like when a team got momentum, you had momentum at times, Blackman had momentum, it was a huge swing. It wasn't just like a small bit of momentum.
Yeah, well, the first half it couldn't have gone any better for us. We got a big turnover there on the first third down of the game and went down and scored. They cut it to 10-7 with about 6 minutes left, and we held the ball pretty much the rest of the first half and scored, and then got the ball back to start the third quarter. And really outside of the first, 6 minutes of the third quarter, I thought we really had total command of that game. We had total command, all the momentum at halftime. It's amazing how a game can really swing on one play, on one punt. And I've coached our punt team for the last 5 years, and so that's the only finger that needs to be pointed on that is on me. We had a starter that's was cramping on that play, and sure enough, that's exactly where they go. So we've got to address those things. We've got to address our hydration better in those moments, that was certainly I felt like the turning point of the game, it's something that as our head coach, I'm going to make sure it gets fixed.
They had 3 opportunities with short fields last night, and they took advantage of them, didn't they?
They did, and we've made a big emphasis, all season, and this is true especially in a road game. You've got to be competing against the other opponent. You can't be competing against yourself, and unfortunately that was one there in the third quarter, and then the other is I was talking to Jerry late last night in our coach's office. We had a slow screen, and we were talking just about how a lot of quarterbacks will just throw it right at the running back's feet if it's not there. And Jerry's a competitor, and he tried to make something happen and kind of lost the ball there, and they ended up having the ball inside the 10-yard line. And so that's just a competitor trying to make a play. It's a very teachable moment. And outside of that play, I thought Jerry played a phenomenal football game and certainly gave us every opportunity to come out on the other side.
To me, I think he showed a lot of guts coming back out and playing as hard as he did after that happened, because a lot of times you can hang your head and woe is me, but he didn't do that.
Yeah, when the heat when the heat comes on a Friday night on the road against a really good opponent in Blackman, and I tell you, Blackman physically dominated Brentwood High School for 3 quarters, and that's to me it's the most complete Blackman team since 2014. I think they've perhaps in the last few years been a little more dynamic on offense, but all things considered, all 22 positions, they got a Division I player at every level of their defense, and they've got a big-time player on offense. We wanted to take him out of the game, and unfortunately we held him to 1 catch, but that 1 catch went, for a big play touchdown right after, one of our players got injured. So that was a great, time for them to call that play. And we sustained an injury Wednesday morning in practice, with, our best corner who was going to follow him around all night. And it's not going to be anything season threatening, but it was one in a non-region game. We didn't feel good about, rolling him out there. But, being able to hold our own and have every opportunity to, come out, feeling a lot better last night against a really, really, really good opponent on the road. I'm really proud of the way our guys fought and made it a ball game.
We're talking to Ben Caudill, the head coach of the Stewarts Creek Redhawks. A few stats for some of the players last night, offensive stars. And we've been talking about Jerry Taylor, 10 of 16, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Last night he also rushed for 60 yards and a couple of TDs. So he definitely had a blue star night.
Yeah, Jerry played really well, throwing it and running it. There were a few plays, where we were misaligned. And, as the quarterback, we've got to fix those things. And that happened on 3 or 4 snaps where we didn't have a receiver lined up where he needs to be. And we talked about the one, moment that, we talked about last night in our coach's office. And, really appreciate his leadership and desire to, take command of our offense. And he certainly did some things last night that gave us a chance.
Caleb Floyd also last night had 44 yards rushing on 13 carries, but 3 catches for 140 yards. So he came up at big times for you.
Yeah, Caleb, man, each of his catches was, on 2 of them especially, he really had to, make a great catch, and, coming out of the backfield, he's a true all-purpose back. Second play of the game, he's got a tackle for loss. He's a heavy contributor on special teams, and I really can't say enough about the job he's done, offensively, and in all 3 phases. The first 2 games of the season.
Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, kind of talk to me about your overall thoughts defensively against Blackman.
Yeah, we're really proud of, Taj Roseburr. He had another pick last night, so 2 games, 2 picks, and he also had a fumble recovery. So he certainly got a nose for the ball, and that's something that, you want to have a game changer on that side of the ball that's kind of got a nose for where things, kind of end up. And so I was very encouraged by, how he played. And there were several other guys I thought that, are kind of starting to come into their own defensively. And unfortunately, I think as the game started to shift, our momentum, hurt us on that side a little bit more. And that's where you got to give credit, to, a good Blackman team, and we didn't make them do the things from an offensive standpoint that we wanted to make them do. And Grant Gardner, who played for Rockvale last year and, had a good game rushing against us last year for Rockvale. He had a good night for him at Blackman this year. And so, we've got to do a better job of making the offense do the things that they don't want to do, that they're trying to hide. And last night, we weren't able to do that.
The game of football, and especially in last night's game, I mean, it really does come down to a few things that either go your way or they don't. I mean, just look at the score, 42-35.
Yeah, well, when you're on the road, especially in Rutherford County, you just can't make, costly mistakes. We scored a touchdown and then had 2 personal fouls, for celebrating, after the play. So we're kicking off from our 10-yard line. And, we just made 1 too many mistakes, and against Tullahoma, they made 1 more mistake than we did. And so it's really not complicated when you're on the road. I thought we played 3.5 really good quarters of football, and we played 1, half of a quarter, the first few minutes of the 3rd quarter. It was really bad, and so those are the things we got to fix. And that's why, Brian, you play tough non-region opponents, is you learn those lessons, and the sooner you learn them, the better.
Well, this is what makes going through the region and that tough, brutal schedule, because it means a lot more, those games, because you're talking about playoffs or not. So, it's good to be battle tested in those situations. Talk to me a little bit about from week 1 to week 2. It's kind of always been the case that most teams see a lot of growth between those 2 weeks, especially practice. You've got some game film to look at. How do you think your team grew up last night?
Well, I thought we handled the week really well. I thought we handled, a week of early practices, better than we ever have. We changed some things up. I think that
because
really
of the heat, I guess, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We changed some things up. I think that really helped us. I think we're starting to have some leaders emerge, and quite candidly, there's some guys that we thought were going to be, leading that aren't for several reasons, and there are others that we thought might be a little bit more of a lead by example guy that are starting to really emerge, and so we got to continue to tap into that and make sure that our leadership is stepping up at this time of the season.
Well, get to host Hillsboro. Have you had a chance to find out anything about the Burros?
Very briefly, got to film a little bit late this morning, and played them last year there. Anthony Brown, was Coach Fitzgerald's, kind of hand-picked replacement, and so definitely had a great game with them last year. They're coming to us this year, and I've only watched just a few plays of their first game against McGavick. And so looking forward to turning the page and getting to work, starting on Monday. And I know our players are going to be excited to get back at it.
I do want to give a shout out to Wesley Cunningham sending in stats. It's really good to have that so we can, this is, I know it's called the Coach's Corner, but we want to mention as many kids as possible on this, and it certainly helps to be able to have stats, and I know he's doing a pretty good job for you there.
Yeah, he takes pride in that role, and one of the older brothers of our one of the players on our team, Ben Cunningham's older brother, and you got to love these college guys. Sometimes when you give them a meal at halftime and get on the pass list and preferred parking, they can execute for you. So we take pride in making sure guys like you and John are prepared for things like this, and just appreciate all the support staff that we have.
Sure.
All our coaches, our administration, and the band, everybody that just makes things cheerleading really special for us, whether we're home or away. Our support last night was phenomenal. Not an open seat on the visitor side, and that's what makes the Stewarts Creek community a special one.
Ben, appreciate it, and good luck against Hillsboro next week.
Thank you very much. Go Red Hawks.
That's Ben Caudill joining us, the head coach of the Stewarts Creek Red Hawks this morning on the Coaches Show, brought to you by First National Bank of Middle Tennessee. If you're looking for a hometown feel with your bank, turn to First National Bank of Middle Tennessee, offering full-service banking and mortgage services.
With all the financial, wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's